guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be covering some questions off the ACT. Now we're going to focus fire specific questions about FOIL, factoring, and any type of question related to that content. So go ahead and stick with me because we're going to go ahead and jump right into the questions for today. In this case today we're looking at function notation. It says a function f is defined by f of xy equals 3x squared minus 4y. What's the value of 3, 2 in this case? Well, knowing here that it's x, y, that means we're just taking these two numbers and plugging them in. So when we plug them in, let's start here with the x. 3 squared would be 9, and 9 times 3 is going to give me 27. Whereas over here with the y, we're plugging in the 2. So 4 times 2 is going to be 8, and we're still going to be subtracting the 2 of those. When we do 27 minus 8, we end up with 19. So our answer here is C. So this question is just some basic exponent rules which state that if you're ever multiplying two things of the same base, you can just add the exponents together. Now we do have to deal with these two numbers out front first, but we're still just multiplying these terms together. So 2 times 5 is going to give me 10. Then we're going to have that x, and because we're multiplying these two together and they have the same base of x, we're just going to add the exponents. So 7 plus 4 is going to give me 11. So it's going to be 10x to the 11th power, which looks like our option H. Welcome back to the FOIL Factor series. Let's go ahead and take a look at this equation right here. We're going to be plugging 4 in for x and 1/2 in for y, and then seeing what our answer is. Let's start off with the 1/2 here, get rid of the fraction right off. So 2 times 1/2 puts a 2 on top and a 2 on bottom, canceling both of them out, leaving us with 1. So same thing here when we plug the 1/2 in right here. This is also going to give us a 1 right here. Now, we got to still plug in the 4, so we're going to have 4 minus 1 times 4 plus 1. Well, 4 minus 1 is 3, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So really we're just doing 3 times 5 here, which is a final answer of 15, which is D. So this question right here is all understanding the wording in mathematics. It says, when written in symbols, the square of the sum of x and y is represented as what? So in this case, we're talking about the square of the sum. That means we're not squaring the individual x and y's. It means we're squaring their sum, which is the answer you get after you add them together. So that means you're not going to square it until you add them together first. So looking through these, which one of them do you add together first before squaring? Hopefully you said K, because in this case, we're going to add them together first by the parentheses, and then you would square that sum. Tasty. Some more exponent rule questions. So, if you're multiplying two terms that have the same base and different exponents, when you're multiplying them, you can actually just add the exponents together. So, in this case, I have x to the 5th and x to the 4th. When added together, that would give me x to the 9th. We have y to the 3rd and y to the 3rd again. When added those together, we have y to the 6th. Then we have z squared and z to the 6th. So, added together, that would be z to the 8th. So we're looking for a 9, 6, 8 here, which is going to be option F. Now, me personally, I love exponent rule questions because they're just so easy. In this case, let's work with the numbers out front first, and then I'll talk about some exponent rules. So the negative 28 divided by 4 is going to give us a negative 7 out front. Now, when I say exponents rules, here's what I mean. If you have a number on the top and bottom of a fraction, so you're dividing them, and they have the same base, so in this case, x, you can subtract their exponents. Now, if you don't see an exponent here, like x and y, you just assume that's x to the first power, y to the first power. So in this case, I have x to the 4th and x to the 1st, so I'm going to subtract 4 minus 1, leaving me with x to the 3rd power. Then we have y to the 3rd power and y to the 1, so 3 minus 1 is going to give me y to the 2nd power. So I'm looking for negative 7x cubed y squared, which is answer F. When people talk about a FOIL question in mathematics, this is what they're talking about. It's when you're actually just distributing two terms out like this, or maybe even more. But in this case, the F in FOIL stands for first. So we do 2x times the 3x to give us 6x squared. Then we do the outside numbers, which would be 2x times the negative 4x, giving me negative 8x. Then we do the inside for FOIL. That's negative 3 times 3x, giving me negative 9x. And then we do the last one, so negative 3 times negative 4 giving me a positive 12. Now these two will combine right here to give us a negative 17x. So we're looking for 6x squared minus 17 plus 12, which is answer D. So what we're looking at here is a little bit of a double substitution here. It says if 4 to the a is equal to 64, then what is 2 times 2 to the a? Well, the first thing to identify is what this a is. Well, 4 raised to what power is going to give me 64? So in other words, how many times does 4 multiplied by itself gives us 64? Well, 4 times 4 gives us 16, and then times another 4 will give us that 64. So this a is 3. So let's go ahead and plug that in over here. What is 2 to the third power? Well, 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8. So now we're sitting at 8 right here, and we still need to multiply that by the other 2 to give us a final answer of 16, which is option C. Alright, another little plug and chug here with some exponents. We have 3 times 2 to the x plus y when x is equal to 4 and y is negative 1. So let's go ahead and plug in this 4 and negative 1 first. We're going to have 4 plus negative 1. Well, 4 minus 1 is just 3, so we're looking at 2 to the third power. Well, that means 2 times 2, which is 4, times another 2, which is 8. Now, we still have that 3 out front, so we need to do 3 times 8, which is going to give us a final answer of 24, which is option J. So this is just a tricky way of saying that we need to do a plug and chug here. It's going to tell us that h of AB is really just equal to this equation right here, and then it gives us an A and a B to plug in. So let's go ahead and plug those in. We have 5 times 2, which is going to end up giving us 10. Then we have plus 4b. Well, in this case, b is negative 3, so 4 times negative 3 is going to give me negative 12. Then we have a negative 3 times that 2 times that negative 3. First off, realize that we have a negative here and a negative here. So negative 3 times a negative 3 is going to give me a positive 9. And we still have to multiply it by that 2. So 9 times 2 is going to give me a positive 18. So now when we're looking here, we can cancel these two out except for 2. So 10 minus 12 is going to give us a negative 2. So just subtract that 2 from the 18 to give us a final answer of 16, which is option E. Well, that's all the questions we're going to cover today, so thanks for joining me. And remember, if you want to see any other test prep type questions, go ahead and check out some of these other videos over here, or keep checking back for some new content. Again, my name is MrCaproni, and thanks for joining me today.